Look around you. True men are disappearing. The modern world is producing weak men. Men with soft bodies and softer minds. Men chasing validation on TikTok. Men wasting hours on games, porn, and junk food. Fat, skinny, fragile. And yet they dare to call themselves men. But they are not true men. They are boys in grown bodies. And the world has no respect for them. Weakness is a curse. A weak man is not harmless. He is a liability. He cannot protect. He cannot provide. He cannot be trusted. His woman doesn't feel safe with him. His children cannot rely on him. Other men never respect him. And deep down, he doesn't respect himself either. That's why society quietly despises weak men, even while pretending to celebrate them. What makes a true man? A true man doesn't prove himself with words. He proves himself with action. You see it in his body, built through training. You see it in his discipline, choosing duty over comfort. You see it in his ability to control emotions when others collapse. You see it in the way he accepts responsibility instead of making excuses. A true man doesn't chase respect. He earns it, the price of being a true man. Becoming a true man is not easy. It demands pain, sacrifice, and a relentless fight against weakness. The gym becomes your battlefield. Discipline becomes your weapon. Struggle becomes your teacher. Every rep, every drop of sweat, every decision against comfort. This is the price. You cannot buy masculinity. You cannot fake masculinity. You must become a true man through proof. The enemy. The modern world wants you weak. It wants you soft, emotional, and dependent. It wants you distracted and controlled. But a true man refuses. He resists temptation, rejects excuses, and fights for strength in a culture of weakness. Even when mocked, a true man commands respect, because respect always bows to strength. Why true men matter. Civilization was built by true men. Bridges, buildings, technology, freedom, all created and defended by men who refused to be weak. And today, the world still needs them. Your family needs you strong. Your brothers need you disciplined. Your society needs you reliable. A true man isn't optional. He is essential. The choice. You have two paths. 1. Stay weak, soft, and invisible. Live a life of excuses, ignored and forgotten. 2. Embrace the hard road. Build strength, master discipline, and earn respect. The choice is yours. The final truth. The world doesn't care about excuses. It doesn't care about feelings. It doesn't care if you tried. The world only respects results. And results belong to the true man. So don't lose it. Don't trade it for comfort. Don't bury it under weakness. Build it, protect it, live it. Because when you truly become a true man, you'll never need to say it. The world will already know. Chapter 1. Build your body, the foundation of a true man. The first thing people notice about you isn't your ideas. It's not your intentions. It's your body. Before you speak, before you shake hands, before anyone knows your name, your body has already spoken for you. And if your body says weak, then no one cares about the rest. This is why building your body is the first step toward becoming a true man. Muscles are not decoration. They are proof. Proof of discipline, proof of resilience, proof that you refuse to be average. A weak body is the loudest signal of a weak life. A strong body is the first sign of a true man. Why the world respects strength. Let's be honest. People judge. They always have, and they always will. When you walk into a room, you don't get respect for your potential. You get judged for what you've already built. A fat man tells the world he has no discipline. A skinny man tells the world he can't endure struggle. But a strong, trained man doesn't need to say a word. His presence commands attention. His body tells everyone, this man works, this man fights, this man endures. This is why women are drawn to strong men. This is why men respect strong men. This is why the world bends to those who carry strength. Storytelling. Two men walk into a room. Picture this. Two men walk into a room. The first one is soft, overweight, hiding under baggy clothes. His handshake is weak. His posture is slouched. He speaks, but nobody listens. The second one is built. Broad shoulders, solid frame, calm posture. He doesn't rush to talk, but when he does, people lean in. Same words, different bodies. One is ignored, one is respected. Why? Because strength is credibility. Weakness is not. The lie of modern society tells you, looks don't matter. It's what's inside that counts. Real men don't need muscles. Lies, all of it. If you have a weak body, nobody believes you're disciplined, no matter how many books you've read. If you can't control your own health, nobody believes you can control anything else. If you can't protect yourself, nobody believes you can protect others. The body is the first test. Fail it, and the world won't give you a second chance. Training builds more than muscle. But let's be clear. The gym isn't just about looks. A true man doesn't train to flex in the mirror. He trains to forge himself. Every rep is a lesson in discipline. Every drop of sweat is proof of resilience. Every session is a battle against weakness. You don't just build muscle, you build willpower. You don't just train your body, you train your mind to endure, to suffer, to overcome. This is why a true man sees the gym as sacred. It is where he sharpens his edge every day. Storytelling, the weak father. Let me tell you a story. A man once told his son, "Son, you must be strong." But the boy looked at him, soft belly, weak arms, out of breath after a flight of stairs, and he knew it was a lie. That father wanted respect, but he hadn't earned it. He wanted his son to listen, but he had no proof to back his words. Now picture another father. He trains daily. He carries strength in his frame. When he tells his son, "Be disciplined, be strong," the boy believes him because he sees it in action. Children don't follow advice. They follow example, and a true man builds his body so that his very presence teaches strength. Excuses are weakness. I don't have time. I'm too tired. I'll start next week. Weak words, weak men. A true man makes time. A true man chooses training over excuses. A true man knows that every day skipped is another day of weakness growing stronger. Life will never hand you free time. You carve it out. You take it by force. You make your body a priority, because without it, nothing else matters. How to build like a true man. So how does a true man build his body? Not with shortcuts, not with excuses. With relentless, consistent training. Lift heavy. The barbell doesn't lie. It demands effort, and effort builds men. Train to fight. Box, wrestle. Learn to use your body as a weapon. Muscles are useless if they can't protect. Respect food. Fuel your body with discipline, not addiction. Junk food is weakness disguised as pleasure. Sleep with purpose. Rest is recovery, not laziness. A true man knows when to recharge for battle. Show up daily. Not sometimes. Every day. Consistency beats talent, genetics, and excuses. This is how a true man builds his foundation. Storytelling, from nobody to true man. There was once a boy who was invisible, ignored by women, overlooked by men, doubted by his own family. One day, he decided he would no longer live weak. He went to the gym. The weights humbled him. The pain broke him. But he kept showing up. 1 year later, people noticed. 2 years later, they respected. 5 years later, he didn't need to speak. His presence said it all. He hadn't just built his body. He had built himself into a true man. The final lesson. Building your body isn't optional. It's the foundation of being a true man. A weak man is ignored. A strong man is respected. A weak man is replaced. A strong man is followed. A weak man makes excuses. A true man makes proof. So train, lift, sweat, suffer. Turn your body into living evidence that you are disciplined, capable, and unbreakable. Because until you build your body, you will never build respect. And without respect, you will never be a true man. Chapter 2. Discipline over everything. Why discipline defines a true man. A true man is not built by motivation. He is built by discipline. Motivation comes and goes. Feelings rise and fall. But discipline is permanent. Discipline is what gets you to the gym when you don't feel like it. Discipline is what makes you keep promises when nobody is watching. Discipline is what pushes you forward when comfort begs you to stop. A man ruled by feelings will always fail. But a true man lives by discipline first. Everything else comes after. Storytelling, 2 paths. Picture 2 men. The first wakes up when he feels like it. He eats whatever tastes good. He works only when inspired. His life is ruled by moods and impulses. Some days he shines. Most days he falls. And in the end, he achieves nothing. The second man wakes up early even when tired. He trains even when sore. He works even when bored. He doesn't wait for the right mood. He acts regardless. One man is a prisoner of feelings. The other is a master of discipline. And only one of them is a true man. The weakness of feelings. Feelings are inconsistent. They lie. They betray you. Your feelings will tell you, sleep in, skip the workout, eat the junk food, do it tomorrow. And if you listen, you will lose, every time. A true man doesn't ignore feelings, he conquers them. He feels tired and trains anyway. He feels afraid and acts anyway. He feels unmotivated and works anyway. That's discipline. Discipline is freedom. Weak men think discipline is prison. They think routines and rules make life boring. They are wrong. A life without discipline is chaos. Bills unpaid. Promises broken. Goals abandoned. That is slavery to impulses. But a life of discipline, that is freedom. Freedom from laziness. Freedom from regret. Freedom from weakness. Discipline is the structure that sets a true man free. Storytelling. The soldier and the civilian. A civilian wakes up late, scrolls his phone, eats whatever's easy. He moves through life without urgency, without purpose. Days slip into years, and he wonders why nothing changes. A soldier wakes before dawn. He trains his body, sharpens his mind, follows a code. He doesn't live by convenience. He lives by discipline. Which one do you respect? Which one would you follow? This is the difference. A weak man is casual. A true man is disciplined, like a soldier of his own life. The power of daily discipline. Discipline isn't built in one dramatic moment. It's built in small decisions, repeated daily. Waking up when the alarm rings. Training when you'd rather rest. Eating clean instead of giving in. Working on your craft when others waste time. Every choice is a vote. Every decision is proof. Every day you win against comfort, you strengthen the true man within. Storytelling, the broken talent. I once knew a man with incredible talent, smart, creative, full of potential, but he lacked discipline. He worked when inspired, stopped when bored, quit when challenged. Years later, his talent was gone, his potential wasted. I also knew a man with average talent but unshakable discipline. He showed up daily. He worked relentlessly. He never quit. Years later, he was respected, successful, unstoppable. Talent fades, discipline endures. And that is why a true man chooses discipline over everything. Discipline in every area. A true man doesn't just have discipline in the gym. He applies it everywhere. In his body, training, eating, sleeping with purpose. In his work, showing up early, delivering results, refusing laziness. In his money, saving, investing, building instead of wasting. In his relationships, leading with consistency, not mood swings. Without discipline, every area of life collapses. With discipline, every area of life grows. Storytelling. The fighter. Imagine a fighter who only trains when motivated. He skips days, eats poorly, stays up late. When fight day comes, he's unprepared. He loses. Now imagine a fighter who trains daily, eats clean, sacrifices nights out. He doesn't wait for motivation. He trains no matter what. Fight day comes and he dominates. The difference wasn't talent, it was discipline. And the same is true for every man. The final lesson. A true man doesn't live by feelings. He lives by discipline. Feelings make you weak. Discipline makes you unbreakable. Every day, the world tests you. And every day, you choose comfort or discipline. Weak men choose comfort and lose. True men choose discipline and win. So wake up early. Train when tired. Work when bored. Keep promises when nobody watches. Choose discipline over everything. Because without it, you're nothing. But with it, you are unstoppable. Chapter 3. Earned Confidence. Fake confidence versus real confidence. The modern world is full of men pretending. They puff their chests, talk loudly, and call it confidence. But deep down, it's empty. You can see it in their eyes. They brag, they boast. But when tested, they collapse. That is fake confidence. It's fragile, and the moment reality punches back, it shatters. A true man's confidence is earned. It is not borrowed from words, fashion, or social media. It comes from competence. From actually doing the work, building the skills, proving yourself in the real world. Confidence without proof is delusion. Confidence with proof is power. Storytelling, the loud talker. I knew a man who was always the loudest in the room. He bragged about money he didn't have, women he never dated, fights he never won. People laughed at his jokes but never respected him. One day, someone challenged him. A real man, trained, disciplined, proven. The loud talker froze. All his bravado disappeared in seconds. The room saw the truth. Empty words, no substance. That's fake confidence. A true man doesn't need to brag. His results speak louder than words. Why confidence must be earned. Confidence isn't magic. It's not something you decide to have. It comes from training your body until it's strong, building skills until you're competent, keeping promises until your word has weight, facing challenges until fear no longer controls you. When you know you've done the work, you walk differently, you speak differently, you live differently. That's why a true man's confidence is unshakable, because it is built on proof. The weakness of pretending. Weak men look for shortcuts. They want the appearance of confidence without paying the price. They use alcohol to feel bold. They use clothes to fake status. They use lies to inflate their image. But the moment they are tested, in a fight, in a crisis, in responsibility, they collapse. A true man doesn't need shortcuts. His confidence is carved into his body, his habits, his results. Storytelling, the fighter and the pretender. Imagine two men in a boxing ring. One is fit, trained, disciplined. The other looks confident but never trained a day in his life. The bell rings. Within seconds, the pretender's confidence disappears. Every punch exposes his weakness. The trained man? He doesn't need to act tough. He knows what he can do. His confidence is real. That's the difference. Confidence earned through sweat cannot be faked. Confidence built through competence. A true man builds confidence by mastering competence. In the gym, strength builds presence. In business, skill builds wealth. In relationships, integrity builds trust. In life, consistency builds respect. The more competent you are, the more unshakable your confidence becomes. Confidence is not a costume. It is the side effect of discipline, skill, and proof. Storytelling, the silent man. There was a man who rarely spoke. He didn't brag, didn't boast. But when he did speak, everyone listened. Why? Because his life was proof. His body was trained. His work was respected. His word was trusted. He didn't need to say, "I'm confident." His confidence was earned, and it showed in everything he did. That is the mark of a true man. The danger of insecurity. Weak men chase external validation because they have none inside. They hide insecurity under fake confidence. But insecurity always leaks out. A true man faces his insecurity head-on. He doesn't hide from his weaknesses. He works on them until they are strengths. That's how confidence is earned, not by pretending to be fearless, but by fighting through fear until it no longer controls you. How to earn confidence. Like a true man, do the work. No shortcuts, no excuses. Train your body, sharpen your mind. Master skills. The more capable you are, the more certain you feel. Keep promises. To others, but especially to yourself. Trust in yourself comes from consistency. Face discomfort. Step into the things that scare you until they no longer do. Prove yourself daily. Each day you win against laziness, fear, or weakness, you earn more confidence. Confidence is not built in your head. It is built in your actions. Storytelling, the true man in the storm. A storm hit one night. Power out, chaos everywhere. Neighbors panicked, families afraid. One man froze. He looked confident online, but in real life he was helpless. Another man took charge. Calm voice, steady hands, clear actions. He led, protected, and solved problems. The difference? One man had fake confidence. The other had earned confidence. And everyone knew instantly who the true man was. The final lesson. Confidence without proof is fake. Confidence earned through discipline, skill, and results is unshakable. A true man doesn't need to convince others he's confident. He doesn't need to shout, brag, or fake. He simply proves himself every day. And when he walks into a room, people feel it. They respect it. They follow it. That is earned confidence. That is the mark of a true man. Chapter 4. Master your emotions. Why emotional control matters. A weak man is a slave to his emotions. He gets angry and loses control. He gets sad and gives up. He gets anxious and hides. And every time he lets feelings dictate his actions, he loses respect. A true man masters his emotions. He feels fear, but still moves forward. He feels anger, but channels it with precision. He feels pain, but turns it into strength. Control is power. Loss of control is weakness. Storytelling. The angry weak man. I once saw a man lose everything because of anger. He exploded at work, shouting at his boss. He lost his job. He exploded at home, screaming at his wife. She lost respect. He exploded in public, and people saw him as unstable, weak, dangerous to himself. He thought anger made him strong, but in reality, it exposed his weakness. A true man doesn't let anger control him. He feels it, but he directs it like a weapon, never like a tantrum. Emotions are natural, but not the master. Let's be clear. Even a true man feels fear, sadness, anger, frustration. But the difference is simple. A weak man is ruled by emotions. A true man rules over emotions. Emotions are signals, not commands. They tell you something is wrong, but they don't get to decide what you do. A true man listens to the signal, then responds with reason and control. Storytelling, the man in crisis. A fire broke out in an apartment. People panicked, screaming, frozen in fear. 2 men were inside. One joined the panic, crying, useless. The other stayed calm. He moved quickly, gave orders, helped people out. Same situation, same fear, but only one man was respected. Fear is normal. Panic is weakness. Calm controls what makes people trust a true man. Why women test emotional control. Women test men emotionally. They push buttons, create drama, challenge stability. Not because they want chaos, but because they want proof. A woman doesn't feel safe with a man who explodes like a child. She doesn't feel safe with a man who collapses into sadness. She feels safe with a man who stays calm, steady, in control. A true man doesn't get dragged into emotional storms. He anchors others with his control. The cost of losing control. A man who cannot control his emotions will destroy relationships with outbursts, lose opportunities by reacting too soon, look weak in front of enemies and friends, sabotage himself with decisions made in anger or fear. Loss of control equals loss of respect. And once respect is gone, it's nearly impossible to regain. Storytelling. The fighter's calm. In the ring, 2 fighters face each other. One gets hit and panics, swinging wildly, wasting energy. The other gets hit and stays calm, adjusting strategy, striking with precision. Guess who wins? It's not the stronger man. It's the calmer man. Control beats chaos. That's why mastering emotions is more powerful than raw strength. How a true man masters emotions. Pause before reaction. Weak men react instantly. A true man takes a breath, then decides. Channel anger into power. Train harder. Work longer. Turn rage into fuel. Face fear with action. Fear shrinks when you step into it. Turn pain into growth. Suffering is either destruction or transformation. You decide. Stay steady under pressure. In chaos, people look for the man who stays calm. Be that man. Storytelling, the business leader. A company once faced disaster. Everything collapsing, money burning. Employees panicked. Some cried, some quit. The leader? Calm voice, steady decisions. He didn't show fear. He guided with control. They survived, not because the situation wasn't hard, but because one man refused to let emotions run wild. That's the mark of a true man. Emotional control equals power. Think about it. The man who controls his emotions controls himself. The man who controls himself controls his actions. The man who controls his actions controls his future. And in a world of weak emotional men, the one who masters himself is untouchable. That's why emotional control is not just power, it is respect. The final lesson. A weak man is ruled by emotions. A true man rules emotions. Anger doesn't own him. Fear doesn't stop him. Pain doesn't break him. He feels it all, but he masters it all. And that's why people trust him, follow him, respect him. So don't let emotions make you weak. Master them and turn them into weapons. Because until you control yourself, you will never be a true man. Chapter 5. Take responsibility. Responsibility separates men from boys. The difference between a boy and a man isn't age, it's responsibility. A boy blames others. A boy avoids consequences. A boy says, "It's not my fault." But a true man takes responsibility for his choices, for his family, for his failures, for his future. Responsibility is not a burden. It is the crown of masculinity. Without it, you will never be respected. Storytelling, the excuse maker. I once knew a man who always had an excuse. He was broke because the economy was bad. He was unhealthy because his parents didn't cook right. He was single because women only wanted rich guys. Every problem in his life was someone else's fault. And because he blamed others, he never changed. He stayed broke, weak, and lonely. Now compare that to the man who says, "If I'm broke, it's because I didn't work enough. If I'm weak, it's because I didn't train enough. If I'm alone, it's because I didn't improve myself enough." The second man takes responsibility, and because he owns his failures, he can change them. That's why he wins. Why weak men avoid responsibility. Weak men fear responsibility because it exposes them. If they admit the truth, they must face their laziness, their lack of discipline, their weakness. So they hide behind excuses. It's genetics. It's bad luck. It's society's fault. It's just not fair. But excuses never build respect. They only keep you weak. A true man rejects excuses. He takes responsibility even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. Storytelling. The father who left a child once asked, "Where's my father?" The mother said, "He left because life was too hard." That man thought he escaped responsibility. But what he really did was prove he wasn't a man. A true man never abandons responsibility. He carries it, no matter how heavy, because responsibility is not punishment. It is proof of worth. Responsibility equals power. Here's the truth. The more responsibility you accept, the more power you gain. When you say, "This is on me," you gain the power to change it. When you say, "It's someone else's fault," you give away your power. Weak men reject responsibility, and so they stay powerless. True men take responsibility, and so they rise. Storytelling, the leader in chaos. A business collapsed under pressure. Employees pointed fingers, blamed each other, tried to escape. But one man, the leader, stood up and said, "This is my fault. I should have prepared better. I'll fix it." The room went silent. People followed him. Why? Because he owned the problem. A true man earns respect by being the one who takes responsibility when others hide. How to live with absolute responsibility. Stop blaming. No excuses. Everything in your life is your fault. 2. Own your failures. Don't hide from them. Use them as lessons. 3. Carry your family. Protect them. Provide for them. Don't shift the burden. 4. Lead yourself first. If you can't take responsibility for your own life, you can't lead anyone else. 5. Embrace the weight. The heavier the responsibility, the greater the respect. Responsibility is heavy, but that's why weak men drop it, and why true men carry it. Storytelling. The two brothers. 2 brothers grew up poor. The first said, "We're poor because the world is unfair." He stayed poor his whole life. The second said, "We're poor because we haven't built enough value." He worked, trained, built himself. Years later, he was wealthy, respected, and his family followed him. Same situation, different responsibility, different outcome. The final lesson. Taking responsibility is not optional. It is the essence of being a true man. Weak men blame, true men own, weak men avoid, true men confront, weak men collapse, true men carry. So take responsibility for your failures, for your success, for your family, for your future. Because the moment you do, you stop being a victim and you start being a true man. Chapter 6. Live with integrity. Why integrity is the core of a true man. Strength without integrity is intimidation. Money without integrity is corruption. Confidence without integrity is manipulation. But a true man lives with integrity, and that is why people trust him, follow him, and respect him. Integrity means your word has weight. If you say it, you do it. If you promise, you deliver. If you stand for something, you don't betray it for convenience. Without integrity, you are nothing. Storytelling, the liar. I once knew a man who talked big. He promised partnerships, claimed he'd show up, said he'd deliver. But every time he failed. Excuses, delays, lies. Soon nobody believed him. His words became noise. His presence meant nothing. He thought he was clever, but in truth, he destroyed himself. Because once a man loses integrity, he loses respect forever. A true man would rather be silent than lie. His word is his bond. Integrity is hard, but that's why it matters. Weak men compromise for comfort. They cheat when no one is watching. They say yes when they mean no. They betray principles for short-term gain. But integrity is tested when it costs you. Do you keep your word when it's inconvenient? Do you stand by your values when mocked? Do you stay honest when a lie could save you? A true man says yes, always. Storytelling, the warrior's oath. In ancient times, a warrior's oath was sacred. If he swore loyalty, he would rather die than break it. His word was stronger than law, stronger than fear. That's why people trusted warriors more than politicians. Warriors had integrity. A true man lives the same way. His word is not decoration, it is binding. Integrity builds trust. Every relationship in life is built on trust. Trust in business, trust in family, trust in brotherhood, trust in yourself. Without integrity, there is no trust. Without trust, there is no respect. A true man doesn't need contracts, gimmicks, or manipulation. People trust him because his history proves it. He says it, he does it. Storytelling, the friend who stood firm. Two friends once made a pact. One chased money and broke the pact when temptation came. The other stayed true, even though it cost him more work and more sacrifice. Years later, who was respected? Not the rich betrayer. It was the man who kept his word. Integrity outlasts shortcuts. How to live with integrity 1. Say less, do more. Don't promise lightly. Only speak what you intend to follow through. 2. Keep promises, even small ones. Every broken promise kills trust. 3. Stand for principles. If you bend for every trend, you stand for nothing. 4. Be the same everywhere. Integrity means consistency, in public, in private, alone. 5. Build reputation like gold. It takes years to build and seconds to destroy. Protect it at all costs. Storytelling. The businessman who cheated. A businessman once cheated his clients. Quick profits, fast wins. For a year he seemed successful. But when truth surfaced, everything collapsed. No one trusted him again. Contrast this with another businessman who was fair, consistent, and honest. His growth was slower but steady. Years later, he was respected and powerful. The difference? Integrity. Integrity is power. Weak men think lying gives them power. They think manipulation makes them clever. But it's temporary. Lies collapse. Manipulation is exposed. A true man knows the real power comes from integrity. When people trust your word, you don't have to force influence. It comes naturally. That's why kings, generals, and leaders throughout history valued honor above all. Without honor, no strength or wealth could save them. The final lesson. A true man doesn't just look strong, rich, or confident. He lives with integrity. He keeps his word when others break theirs. He stands tall when others bend. He chooses honesty when lies are easier. And because of that, people respect him, trust him, and follow him. Without integrity, you are nothing. With integrity, you are untouchable. That is the law of a true man. Chapter 7. Protect, Provide, and Prosper. The role of a true man. For centuries, men had one duty: protect and provide. It wasn't optional. It wasn't debated. It was life or death. A man who couldn't protect his family lost them. A man who couldn't provide left them to starve. Today, weak men laugh at this role. They call it old-fashioned. They want women to lead, society to protect, the government to provide. But a true man knows this role is timeless. He protects, he provides, and he doesn't stop there. He prospers, lifting everyone under his care to greater heights. Storytelling, the protector. Imagine a man walking with his woman late at night. A threat approaches. One man steps behind her, hiding, shaking, hoping she solves it. That's not a man. That's dead weight. Another man steps forward, calm, firm, unafraid. His presence alone makes danger hesitate. Which one is a true man? Women don't say it out loud, but they all feel it. Safety is attractive. Weakness is repulsive. Protect, the first duty. A true man protects, not because it's fun, but because it's his duty. He protects physically. He trains, stays strong, ready to defend. He protects emotionally. He anchors his family with stability. He protects mentally. He guides his loved ones with clarity. Protection is not just fighting. It is being the wall against chaos. A weak man hides behind others. A true man stands in front. Storytelling, the provider. A father once told his children he loved them, but he never worked, never built, never provided. His words meant nothing because his actions failed. Another father showed love by building, working, and sacrificing. His children never doubted his words because his actions proved them true. Love without provision is empty. Provision is love in action. Provide. The second duty. A true man provides, not just enough to survive, but enough to build. He provides security, a roof, food, stability. He provides direction, vision, leadership, guidance. He provides opportunity, creating a future better than the present. Provision is more than money. It is energy, leadership, and sacrifice. Weak men consume. True men provide. Prosper, the higher duty. But a true man doesn't stop at protection and provision. He prospers. Prosperity means growth. It means building wealth, strength, and legacy beyond survival. A true man doesn't just keep his family alive. He makes them thrive. He doesn't just avoid danger. He conquers opportunity. He doesn't just hold the line. He expands it. To prosper is to lead your family, your brothers, your people to more than they dreamed. Storytelling, the legacy builder. History remembers the men who prospered, not the men who merely survived. but those who built something greater. The man who built businesses that lasted generations. The man who turned suffering into a dynasty. The man who left behind more than his name. He left behind strength, wealth, and honor. That is prosperity. That is legacy. How to protect, provide, and prosper one. Train your body. You can't protect if you're weak. Strength is duty. 2. Build your wealth. Money is power, security, and freedom. 3. Lead with vision. Don't just survive, create a future. 4. Sacrifice comfort. True provision demands discipline and work. 5. Expand constantly. Don't settle for enough. Aim for abundance. A true man sees his role not as a burden, but as purpose. Storytelling, the weak husband versus the true man. A weak husband hides behind his wife's strength, spends money he didn't earn, and leaves his family vulnerable. He may exist, but he is not respected. A true man leads. He provides, protects, and prospers so that his wife can be feminine, his children can feel safe, and his family can stand tall. The difference is everything. The final lesson. Protect, provide, prosper. This is not old-fashioned. This is timeless. A true man doesn't ask the world to take care of his family. He doesn't beg for help. He doesn't run from duty. He steps forward. He stands tall. He carries the weight. Because when you protect, provide, and prosper, you are more than just a man. You are a true man. Chapter 8. Pain creates power. Why pain is necessary. Weak men run from pain. They hide from discomfort, avoid struggle, and beg for an easy life. But here's the truth. Comfort destroys men. Pain builds them. Every scar, every failure, every hardship, that's where strength is forged. A true man doesn't fear pain. He uses it. Pain is the fire, and fire is what makes steel unbreakable. Storytelling. The broken boy. I once met a young man who had never suffered. His parents gave him everything. No struggle, no hardship, no responsibility. At the first challenge in life, he collapsed. Anxiety, depression, excuses. He wasn't weak because he was born that way. He was weak because he had never faced pain. Contrast him with another man who grew up with nothing. He suffered hunger, rejection, and failure. But instead of breaking, he hardened. Every setback was fuel. Every struggle made him sharper. One boy avoided pain and stayed fragile. The other embraced pain and became a true man. Pain reveals who you are. Pain strips away the mask. When life hits you, there's no pretending. A weak man cries, blames, and quits. A true man grits his teeth, endures, and grows. Pain is the test of character. Anyone can smile and comfort. Only a true man stands tall in suffering. The illusion of comfort society sells comfort as happiness. Easy jobs, entertainment. Quick pleasure. No risk, no struggle. But men who live in comfort grow soft. They stop growing. They stop fighting. They lose their edge. A true man knows comfort is the enemy. He seeks challenge. He trains harder, takes risks, embraces discomfort. Because he knows the only way to build real strength is through pain. Storytelling, the fighter in training. A fighter once said, "Training is suffering." Every day he was sore, bruised, exhausted. But every day he got stronger. On fight night, his opponent, who had trained softer, avoided pain, broke after one round. The fighter who embraced pain dominated. The lesson is clear. Pain doesn't weaken you. Avoiding pain does. How pain creates power. Pain builds resilience. Each time you endure, your threshold rises. Pain builds gratitude. When you've suffered, you value every victory. Pain builds focus. Struggle removes distraction and reveals what matters. Pain builds leadership. People trust the man who's been through hell and survived. Pain builds legacy. Stories of greatness always start with suffering. Pain is not punishment. Pain is preparation. Storytelling, the comeback. A man once lost everything: his money, his job, his family. Most would give up. But instead, he turned pain into his reason. He worked harder than ever, built back stronger, and became more respected than before. If he had avoided pain, he would have stayed broken. But because he embraced it, he became unstoppable. That is the power of pain. Weak men complain. True men transform. Weak men whine about pain. They want sympathy. They want pity. But pity doesn't make you strong. It keeps you weak. A true man doesn't complain. He doesn't beg for comfort. He takes pain, absorbs it, and turns it into fuel. Every rep in the gym hurts, but it builds strength. Every failure stings, but it teaches lessons. Every heartbreak burns, but it forges resilience. Pain is the cost of becoming powerful. Storytelling, the warrior's scars. An old warrior once showed his scars to his son. The boy asked, "Did it hurt?" The warrior said, "Yes, but every scar made me stronger. Every scar is proof I survived." Scars are not weakness. They are the marks of a man who refused to break. A true man wears his scars with pride because they tell the story of his power. The final lesson. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is your greatest teacher. Weak men run from it and stay fragile. True men embrace it and become powerful. So stop avoiding discomfort. Stop chasing easy. Stop fearing suffering. Step into the fire. Endure the struggle. Take the pain. Because when you do, you will discover the truth. Pain doesn't destroy a true man. Pain creates him. Enter Chapter 9, Warrior Mindset. The Spirit of a True Man. A true man is not just strong in body. He is a warrior in spirit. The warrior mindset is not about violence. It's about readiness. It's about resilience. It's about facing every challenge as a battle to be won. A weak man wants peace without struggle. He hides, avoids, and hopes life spares him. But a true man knows life is war. Every day is a fight against weakness, against excuses, against comfort, against fear, and only the warrior survives. Storytelling, the ancient soldier. In ancient times, warriors carried swords even in peace. Why? Because they knew peace is fragile. The moment you relax, danger strikes. One soldier stayed sharp, trained daily, prepared for battle. Another grew lazy, thinking the war was over. When enemies came, only the prepared warrior survived. That's the warrior mindset. Always ready, never soft. Life is a battlefield. Modern men forget this. They think life is safe, easy, guaranteed. But look closer. Every man you meet is fighting something. Bills, failure, rejection, betrayal, pain. Life is not a vacation. It's a battlefield. And only those with the warrior mindset can endure. A true man doesn't wait for challenges. He trains daily, sharpens himself, and when the storm comes, he is already prepared. Storytelling, the business warrior. A businessman once said, "Every day I wake up to war. Competitors want my spot. The market wants my weakness. My own laziness wants to destroy me." The men who treated business casually were crushed, but the ones who fought like warriors, prepared, disciplined, relentless, they thrived. The warrior mindset applies everywhere, not just the battlefield, but the boardroom, the gym, the home. The traits of a warrior mindset. Preparedness. A true man sharpens skills daily. He is always ready. Resilience. Pain, loss, failure. They don't break him. They build him. Discipline. A warrior trains even without war. Courage. Fear exists, but he acts anyway. Honor. He fights with principles, not just force. Without these, you are not a warrior. You are prey. Storytelling, the weak civilian. A man once lived only for comfort. He thought nothing bad would ever happen. Then life hit. Job loss, betrayal, hardship. He collapsed. Depression consumed him. He wasn't broken because life was unfair. He was broken because he never built the warrior mindset. Contrast that with a man who lives like a warrior. He expects hardship, trains for it, and when it comes, he fights and overcomes. That's why one stays weak while the other becomes a true man. Why the world needs warriors society tells men to soften, to surrender, to avoid conflict. But look around. The world still needs warriors. Families need protectors. Communities need leaders. Nations need men willing to fight for what matters. Without warriors, chaos wins. Without warriors, weakness spreads. Without warriors, civilization collapses. That's why every true man must adopt the warrior mindset. For himself, for his family, for his people. Storytelling, the old warrior. An old man once said, "My body is weaker, but my spirit is still a warrior." Even in age, he trained, fought, lived with discipline. The warrior mindset never dies. It is carried until the last breath. That's what makes a man respected across generations. How to build the warrior mindset trained daily. Your body is your weapon. Keep it sharp. Face hardship. Don't avoid pain. Embrace it as training. Live with vigilance. Expect challenges. Prepare for them. Protect your circle. A warrior defends his family and brothers. Carry discipline. Every day is war. Treat it like one. The warrior mindset isn't about fighting others. It's about never surrendering to weakness inside yourself. The final lesson. A weak man hopes life is easy. A true man prepares for life to be hard. The warrior mindset separates the fragile from the respected. It keeps you ready, disciplined, and powerful in a world that never stops testing you. So live like a warrior. Train like a warrior. Think like a warrior. Because while boys play at peace, a true man knows the truth. The war never ends. Chapter 10. Earn respect. Respect is the currency of a true man. Money can buy comfort. Strength can intimidate. Status can impress. But none of it matters if people don't respect you. Respect is the highest currency a man can earn. It cannot be begged. It cannot be faked. It cannot be demanded. Respect is only earned. And once you have it, doors open. People listen, women trust, men follow. That is why the final test of a true man is this. Does he command respect? Storytelling, the beggar of respect. I once knew a man who always said, "You have to respect me." He demanded it, shouted it, begged for it. But nobody respected him. Why? Because respect is never given to the one who asks. Contrast this with a man who never asked. He built his body, lived with discipline, kept his word, carried responsibility. People respected him automatically. That is the difference. Weak men beg. True men earn. Why respect matters. Respect is more than reputation. It is recognition of value. When people respect you, they listen when you speak. They trust you in leadership. They follow you in crisis. They stand beside you in loyalty. Without respect, you are invisible. With respect, you are unforgettable. How respect is earned. A true man earns respect through action. Strength. People respect the man who can protect and endure. Discipline. Respect comes to the man who controls himself. Competence. Skill commands respect. Results speak louder than talk. Integrity. If your word is unshakable, respect follows. Sacrifice. People respect the man who carries weight others avoid. Every day is a chance to earn respect. Every choice is a vote for or against it. Storytelling. The battle leader. In war, soldiers don't follow the man with the loudest mouth. They follow the man who fights with them, bleeds with them, carries the heaviest load. That man doesn't demand respect. He earns it through courage, discipline, and sacrifice. The same is true in life. A true man doesn't just want titles or praise. He earns loyalty by living as proof. The cost of respect is expensive. It demands discipline when others are lazy. It demands sacrifice when others quit. It demands honesty when lies would be easier. That's why so few men are respected. Weak men want the reward without the price. But a true man pays it daily. And because of that, when he walks into a room, people feel it. They don't have to be told who he is. They already know. Storytelling. The two fathers. One father gave orders but lived weak. His children obeyed out of fear. But they never respected him. Another father worked, provided, protected, lived with integrity. His children not only obeyed, they admired. Even in his absence, they carried his lessons with pride. That's the power of respect. It outlives you. Respect versus popularity. Weak men confuse respect with popularity. They chase likes, followers, approval. But popularity is cheap. It comes and goes. Respect is different. It's not about being liked. It's about being valued. Sometimes respect even means being hated, because you stood for truth instead of bending to lies. A true man doesn't chase popularity. He earns respect, and respect lasts forever. How to live as a respected man. Say less, prove more. Words fade, actions echo. Stay consistent. Respect dies when you break discipline. Be unshakable. In chaos, remain calm. In temptation, remain firm. Give respect wisely. True men respect other strong men, never weak pretenders. Build legacy. Respect is not just what people think of you now. It's what they remember when you're gone. Storytelling. The old lion. An old lion sits in the savannah. Young lions are faster, stronger, louder. But when he moves, they all step back. Why? Respect. Earned over years of battle, scars, and survival. A true man is the same. Even as age comes, respect remains, because it was built, not begged. The final lesson. Respect cannot be demanded. Respect cannot be bought. Respect cannot be faked. It must be earned. A weak man will always beg for it and never receive it. A true man lives in such a way that respect is inevitable. So build your body, live with discipline, keep your word, carry responsibility, master your emotions, protect, provide, and prosper, endure pain, live with the warrior mindset. Do all this, and you won't need to ask for respect. You will embody it, because the world doesn't respect words. It respects proof. And proof is what makes you a true man. The world doesn't need louder opinions. It needs true men whose lives are evidence, strong bodies, disciplined habits, controlled emotions, absolute responsibility, and integrity that can't be bought. That's the core message of this program. Masculinity isn't a slogan. It's proof you produce every day. A true man builds first what he can control: his body, his routine, his mindset. From that foundation, he becomes reliable to others, a protector who doesn't panic, a provider who doesn't fold, a leader who doesn't lie. Pain is no longer something to avoid. It's fuel. Conflict stops being chaos. It becomes a test he's trained to pass. Respect isn't demanded. It arrives when consistency, competence, and character line up. This isn't about perfection or pretending you're fearless. It's about choosing duty over feelings when feelings are loud. It's about doing what you said you'd do when nobody is watching. It's about living a code. Lift, learn, work, lead, until that code becomes who you are. If you remember one thing, remember this. A true man doesn't announce himself, he proves himself. Build the body that carries the weight. Build the discipline that runs your day. Build the integrity that makes your word a contract. Then go protect, provide, and prosper. That is the outcome we're after. Not a moment of hype, but a life that commands respect. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. If this hit you in the chest, don't let it fade. Like the video, so the algorithm pushes this message to more men who need it. Share it with one brother you refuse to watch stay weak.